Oh, good evening, everybody. This is the One-Eyed Chef again, and tonight's your lucky night. Tonight I'm going to make for you my famous Italian tomato sauce and my famous Italian meatballs. As I've said many, many times, preparation is very important. And in the meatballs, the breadcrumbs are something that go in to the meatballs. And we always use fresh products when we make them. What I've done here, as you can see, this is the Cuisinart. What I did is I took 2 or 3 Italian rolls and a bulky and a hot dog roll, and I just ground them up in the Cuisinart. Then what I'm going to do is rather than mix the cheese and the spices and all that when I make the meatballs themselves, I'm going to put some of it right into the bread stuffing. So what we've got here is I've got some parsley flakes, which are the canned ones, as you can see. I'm going to put a few of those in. Then I've cut some fresh parsley. I'm going to put a little of that in. Then we've got the Parmesan cheese. I'm going to put a little of that in. What that does is it just makes the mixture a little bit better, because we're going to put some of that in the meatballs, but the more that you can get it mixed in, the better off they're going to taste. So I'm just going to mix it. For those of you that didn't hear me, I said it sounds like Frankie Scola's car. Frank's one of our star football team players for the Doherty football team. Let me just, before we shut the camera off, tell you how I'm going to make the tomato sauce. And we'll get back to you after I get it prepared a little bit. We've got some 28-ounce cans of Italian tomatoes. We're going to use 6 of those. The best ones, if you can get them, are the ones that have the basil mixed into them. And what we'll do is I'm going to take these, I have to mix them up in the Cuisinart to get them soft, because you actually get the whole tomatoes in this. But what we've done, if I can find it, is my friend Grace at the Dino's brought over some fresh basil, and I'm going to put this into the tomato sauce. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the tomatoes mixed in, then we're going to make a tomato sauce, then I'm going to show you how to cook the meatballs. Back again now, and I'm going to start the tomato sauce. And what I've done is I've combined 6 28-ounce cans of the peeled tomatoes, and those tomatoes come in the can. They're about that big, so that's why we have to mix them up in the purelator. Now to that I'm going to add 3 teaspoons of garlic, and you can use either the garlic cloves or the real garlic. And then these are the mixed Italian spices. I'm just going to add, I like to measure things by the palmful. It's a palmful of the Italian spices, okay? And then I'm going to add 2 pinches of fresh onions. I'm going to add a half of chopped pepper. I'm going to add, this is the tomatoes come with the basil leaves. What I did is I took 4 basil leaves and I chopped them up, and we're going to put those in. That's the fresh basil. Now one thing this calls for is a ton of parsley. So what I've done is I've chopped up some parsley. I'm going to put a good healthy pinch of the chopped parsley in there. Then I'm going to put some pre-done parsley. This is the salt. You know, we don't use salt in this house, but that's why it's got no cholesterol and no real salt to it. And these are the hot peppers. Kids don't like those, but Mama and I like them, so we just put a little bit in there. Very important is the Parmesan cheese. You don't want to put too much. 3 pinches. 1, 2, 3. This is the fresh ground pepper. Just a couple of shakes of it. Maybe 5. And then last but not least are the bay leaves. I'm going to put in probably a dozen of them. and get them out. Then what we're going to do is we're going to simmer this. First of all, we're going to turn the heat up till it gets nice and warm. Mix this in, and then we're going to drop it down into a low to medium temperature until we cook the meatballs in it. So what I'm going to do is start this off, and then I'll be back to you when I get the ingredients for the meatballs to show you how to make them. We'll put them in, and then you'll see the finished product. So if you just sign off for a few minutes, I'll be right. It's now 7:22, and I just want to tell you what a good chef really does. Timmy is in the living room watching a football game with his two girlfriends, and I decided I'm making a pizza. That's shown on one of our prior recipes, but I'm going to just pop that in the oven. Maybe we'll show you what that looks like when it comes out. But getting back to the meatballs, if we can zoom in, I've got the 6 pounds of pork and hamburger mixed out. So what I'm going to do now is take just enough of this is the grated Parmesan cheese, just to cover it. It's difficult to do this without an assistant, but my assistant happens to be doing the camera. I'm going to take garlic, which is very important, and just going to put little sprinkles of that throughout. Okay. Then the rest of the parsley, you can actually add more than that, but that's about 12 or 13 teaspoons full. We're going to just put that onto the, and again, that's fresh parsley. You can hear the phone ringing. It's probably one of our fans, so we're going to shut it off just for a minute so the member can answer the phone. Okay, what I've done is I put the parsley and the garlic on that. Now what I'm going to do is, oops, this is a little bit warm, but these are the onions which I've browned in the butter sauce. I'm going to try to spread those evenly over the mixture. You know, it's better to spread out the hamburger and the pork as much as you can, because again, the meatballs are better if you can spread that stuff evenly. Okay, now paprika, just a little sprinkle of that over the meatballs. Some pepper, just a little bit, and some oregano. Go a little heavy on the oregano because that gives it the Italian flavor. Now the last thing that we're going to do, and you're not going to see this on TV because my camera person is going to help me do it, but what we do is, these are the 5 eggs which I've beaten. I'm going to mix that in here, and then as that starts to mix it, I'm going to thicken it with the breadcrumbs. And the next thing you'll see, hopefully, is a few meatballs which will pop into the sauce. So we'll sign off just for a couple of minutes and we'll be right back. Thank you. We're back again just for the finale. From all of that meat, we made exactly 62 meatballs, and you can see them sitting here. One of the toughest things is rolling those little suckers out with your hands, but that's very important because, again, it blends the mixture of what's in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to add these 62 meatballs to the 6 cans of sauce, and we're going to simmer them for about 2 to 3 hours, just at about a low to medium heat. We're going to keep an eye on them, and then once they've been simmered for 2 or 3 hours, what we're going to do is shut off the heat, put a cover on, and let them stay all night, and that way the sauce will permeate the meatballs. And tomorrow morning, we're going to pack 2 or 3 dozen. We're going to bring them out to Colgate, feed them to the team. If the team doesn't play on Saturday, you'll know that the meatballs didn't work out. If they win on Saturday, then you'll know that's the secret of football success. We'll see you next week, because we're going to do next week the stuffed peppers. The week after, we're going to do the steak au poivre. And the week after, we're going to consolidate it for your Christmas gift. One final reminder, the One-Eyed Chef tapes can be purchased for $49.95 plus $37.50 postage and handling. And if you get your orders in right away, we'll get them out for Christmas. The address is the One-Eyed Chef, 70 Berwick Street, Worcester, Mass. 01602. Until next time, we'll be back. Good night, everybody.